I want to jump on over to Kamala. She is one of the title tracks. And the fact that even Black Lives Matter is saying that Kamala Harris is no longer doing anything that's actually just, what progressives have believed. And this happens all the time, I want to point out, whether it's the Young Turks, whether it's, progressive comedians. Maybe David Hogg will have this realization. But eventually progressives, maybe, I think even AOCs at this point, eventually all progressives realize that the people that claim to support them are actually full of shit. And they start noticing, hey, you guys say you believe in democracy, you believe in being a progressive, you believe in inclusion, until it actually threatens their power. So you have Kamala Harris coming in now, and all this stuff about Trump subverting democracy, and Trump is going to never have an election, pretend that he didn't, pretend that he wasn't in office at all before. He's threatening democracy again, times 2. Trump's threatening us. Terminator 2, Judgment Day. They're realizing, as stupid as they are over at BLM, and as stupid as they thought people were, they might have been even dumber. BLM might have been dumber than even we knew, because they think people are really dumb because all they did is take their money and buy houses with it. But they're even dumber because they thought Kamala Harris was on their side. Maybe she was before. Maybe she promised them something. But they're reading, they spell out a timeline of events. This is their official major page, it looks like. Almost 1 million followers. Better click that follow button, everybody. They say Sunday, Joe Biden drops out. Kamala Harris announces her campaign with Biden endorsement. Kamala Harris says she's going to work hard to earn the nomination. Kamala Harris makes calls to party delegates. Monday, Kamala Harris continues making calls to party delegates. Kamala Harris makes 2 public speeches. Associated Press announces Kamala Harris has secured enough delegates to be the Democratic nominee on that night. Kamala Harris releases this statement noting she has worked hard to go out and earn this nomination as promised. A 24-hour process of talking to party bosses is not democratic, nor is it a process Democrats should be proud of. We do not live in a dictatorship. Delegates are not oligarchs. Installing Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee and unknown vice president without any public voting process would make the modern Democratic Party a party of hypocrites. We call on the DNC to create a process that allows for the public participation in the nomination process, not just a nomination by party delegates. And they went on about this. They want, in a press release, they said they want a snap primary called across the country in August. And I believe they want it to be an online, virtual snap primary. So they want an online vote, which surely they wouldn't rig. They would never rig an online vote. Who knows how they would do that? But isn't it just interesting how much... I mean, you could say that you guys sound like Jan Sixers now. You sound like a bunch of insurrectionists now talking about, whoa, we shouldn't just go with what the delegates say. This is exactly what people said that was condemned for Mike Pence. And these delegates, they said the delegates shouldn't verify the votes. They said that they should make sure it goes in front of courts. They said Mike Pence shouldn't verify the election until we figure out what's going on. And then people said, no, that's not democracy. The delegates should push through what happened. And now on the DNC side, the delegates are pushing through whatever they want because that is truly what they get to do. And it's just like, well, don't you see here? Don't you see how this can be manipulated? Because it doesn't actually mean that the delegates have to do what their people decide. They were asking the delegates to not certify, to not put in their delegations for Trump, even though he had won the correct amount of votes the first time around. If you recall, they said they basically asked all these Republicans to not go with the will of the people. The Democrats did, and that didn't happen. And then in 2020, they said, don't go with the will of the people, as in don't certify the election results without questioning it, without reviewing the evidence, and that didn't happen. And now this third time, it finally happens on their side, and what their side is doing is not following the will of the people. So they're doing exactly what they wanted the Republicans to do the first time. They said, don't follow what the votes did, or what the votes showed. Don't put Trump in as your candidate, and just defy the whole legal system. Or sorry, all the checks and balances that are in place. That's what they wanted the Republicans to do in 2016. Now in 2020, they're doing that exact same thing after, 8 years, or sorry, 2024, after 8 years, after saying Donald Trump is subverting democracy. They're just doing the same thing that they wanted to do. It's okay to subvert democracy when it goes against what they want. It's okay to subvert democracy to keep Trump out of office. It's okay to subvert democracy to put Kamala in. But otherwise, the checks and balances, the societal norms, the governmental norms. And now they're saying it doesn't matter that RFK Jr. came second. It doesn't matter that, Marianne Williamson and the other guy, Jebediah Springfield, they were also in there. It doesn't matter. We're just putting in Kamala as the candidate. What should happen is you either go with RFK Jr. because, and I'm not even a fan of his. You go with RFK Jr. because he actually had the second highest amount of votes. He should be the candidate now. Or you just redo it again, kind of what BLM's doing, but wouldn't trust it to be virtual. You're going to have to do something, but you can't. But the correct thing to do would be to put RFK Jr. in there. Instead, they're just saying, too bad, Kamala's our gal. And even BLM is calling for it. They said that the DNC refused to host debates during the primary. The DNC changed the primary schedule and created rules that made it almost impossible for non-Biden candidates to appear on the ballot. Now, I'll remind you guys right now that the DNC has, I believe it's 2 weeks to announce their Kamala's running mate, or else she can't be on the tickets. Of course, they'll change that if they need to. It's always okay to bend the rules if you're the Democrats. But this is how close to the wire we are. August, almost. August, September, October. Do they still have an October surprise, or is that out the window too? What are they going to do? People don't like Kamala. Are they throwing her to the wolves? Maybe, just to save face. But why wouldn't you? It's strange to me why they would put Kamala in there in the first place, to just tank. Because what you've done, even though Biden was going to obviously lose, they might think they have a better shot with Kamala, which I think is fair. You take one corpse for another. One's a corpse that can't say anything, and the other one is just a vapid brain who says words, who's coherent, but her words are just obviously meant to be gibberish and not make any sense. Whereas Biden can't help but have them be gibberish. But now you've done this thing where everybody sees, well, he can't govern anymore, he can't run anymore. You've been telling me for 3 years he was fine. That would have to mean that they think that Kamala has that much more of a chance than Biden, which is strange considering she got 1% of the vote. She was the first person to drop out of the 2020 primaries for the Democrats. People forget that. People forget that nobody likes Kamala.
Turn it up, Jordan.